Hello everybody, my name is C3PAwesome and welcome to a completely new type of video I have planned for my channel. So, I hosted a poll asking you if you would like to see more Evil Dead content not surrounding the game involved on my channel, and the overwhelming response was yes. So I decided, why not go through the history of Ash's family, the Williams family, if you will, and go through the entire family tree, taking into account the movies, the comics, and the TV show. So that is exactly what I've done. I made sure to read the wiki, look at a few of the Evil Dead comics, at least as many as I could find, and use the wiki for all the ones that I couldn't find, a rewatch of the movies, and of course I also took a look at the TV show in order to kind of get all of the information possible. I'm also going to be covering non-canon timelines, so when we get to that part of the video, I will bring that up. Anyway, I hope you all enjoy this different kind of video, and let's just jump right into it with, of course, Ash's grandfather. The earliest that we can trace back the lineage of the Williams family is with James Williams. James Williams was a government agent in the late 1920s and was part of the Untouchables, led by Elliot Ness in Chicago. He was beaten to death by the gangster Jerry Scaletti and his bodyguard Jasper Tate. Though he never lived to see them, he is the grandfather of Ash and Cheryl Williams. Not much is known about James Williams before his untimely death, except after serving in the United States Army, he graduated from the University of Maryland and later became a federal agent. At some point, he was married and had the first of two children, Kent Williams. Before his death, he discovered that his wife was expecting their second child, which would eventually be Brock Williams, which is the father of Ash and Cheryl. James was held captive by Jerry Scaletti and Jasper Tate in 1929 and eventually was killed by them when he wouldn't give them the information that they were looking for on the evil book that Ash would eventually go on to find and eventually destroy. We don't know much about his wife, Mrs. Williams, but from what we can tell, we knew that she was a kind woman, at least from how Brock describes her in a couple of the comic books later down the line. Other than that, that's about wraps it up for Ash's grandparents. We don't know much about them, but that essentially is the long and short of it. Next up, we have Brock's brother, Kent Williams. Kent Williams is the eldest son of James Williams and his wife, the older brother of Brock Williams, and the uncle of Ash and Cheryl Williams. Not much is known about Kent, except he was born in 1927 and has a younger brother named Brock. He is the only son his father James got to see before his death in 1929. Kent never physically appeared in any form of Evil Dead Expanded Universe media. He is only mentioned once in Army of Darkness Comics Volume 3, Number 9, although it is very likely that he is the Sergeant Williams shown in Army of Darkness Volume 3, Number 6, who retrieved a magic scroll for its keeper Katsu, to keep it out of the hand of the Nazis during the Second World War. Kent is the only other member of the Williams family besides Brandy and Ash who is confirmed alive currently, which puts him at around 95 years old. At the time of recording this, we have still yet to see what Kent looks like in any confirmed media, and what I've given you is literally everything we knew about him. On to the next character. Next up, we have Brock Williams. Brock Williams was the father of Ash and Cheryl Williams, the son of James Williams, the brother of Kent Williams, and grandfather of Brandy Barr. While his brother chose to follow in his father's footsteps, Brock instead decided to settle down with a young girl and have two children, which he named Cheryl and Ashley. He supposedly gave his son two women's names, Ashley and Joanna, in order to toughen him up in life. But in reality, all this caused was more bullying for Ash, making him become more secluded and timid as a person. In his hometown of Elk Grove, Brock owned a hardware store that he let Ash and Cheryl work at before Ash grew old enough to get a job of his own at the local S-Mart, where he would eventually meet his girlfriend Linda. After Ash and Cheryl left for their vacation, and Brock got word that Ash was responsible for the murder of his friends and Cheryl, he shunned and refused to believe he wasn't behind it. After returning 30 years later, Brock called him out again for killing Cheryl in a blind rage and partially blamed himself for giving Ash his name, thinking that it sent him over the edge. In his final moments, he saw his son as a hero, rather than the serial killer that the townfolk thought him to be. Brock later reappeared as a ghost to give his son wisdom and love before passing on to heaven. He was 85 years old when he died in a car accident with the evil Delta 88. Next up, we have Mrs. Williams. Mrs. Williams is the unnamed mother of Ash and Cheryl Williams, wife of Brock Williams, and grandmother of Brandy Barr. Not much is known about Mrs. Williams or her life, other than the fact that she loved her son and daughter and was the gentler side to Brock's tough exterior. She passed away before the events of the first movie due to unknown causes. We're now moving on to some of the main characters, starting with Cheryl Williams. Cheryl Williams was the daughter of Brock Williams and the younger sister of Ash Williams. One of the 5 members of the group headed to a weekend retreat to an isolated cabin in the woods. Cheryl was the first person in their party to become a Deadite. Very little is known about Cheryl's early life, though she was born a few years after her older brother Ashley, sometime between 1958 and the early 1960s. As a child, she frequently fought and argued with her brother whenever they would play games together. At an unknown point in her teenage years, Cheryl began having a relationship with Ash's friend Chet Kaminsky, though the two would keep the relationship a secret from Ash. Sometime between her childhood and the trip to the cabin, Cheryl had developed aspirations of becoming an artist. In October of 1982, Cheryl accompanied Ash, his girlfriend Linda, Scotty, and his girlfriend Shelly on a trip to a remote cabin in the mountains of Michigan. Though Scotty had claimed that the cabin was a rental, it actually belonged to Professor Raymond Noby, who used the cabin so infrequently that it was believed to be abandoned. Together, they found a set of tapes and accidentally awoken an evil long buried. Cheryl was the first to be killed by the evil spirit and attacked Ash and his friends once the evil had taken her over, turning her into a Deadite. After the burning of the evil book, Cheryl melted into a pile of sludge while the evil left her. 30 years later, the evil would use Cheryl's body one last time by resurrecting her again as a Deadite to attack Ash. After a brief skirmish, Cheryl killed her former boyfriend Chet, resulting in her getting shot. After Ash showed the town the evil Deadite Cheryl and finished her off, the town then hailed Ash as a hero, just like his father did before his untimely death. After saving the town, Ash was visited by the souls of Brock, Cheryl, and Chet, waving him off to heaven after saving their souls. Next up, we have the man of the hour and probably the most popular Evil Dead character of all time, Ash Williams. Now, unfortunately, Ash's story is far too long to cover in a video like this, so instead, this section will be a Cliff Notes version of Ash's life in canon so that people can get caught up. Ashley Joanna Williams is the son of Brock and Mrs. Williams, grandson of James Williams, nephew of Kent Williams, father of Brandy Barr, ex-husband of Candace Barr, and brother of Cheryl Williams. Ash was born on April 18, 1957, and raised in Elk Grove, Michigan. He was the first child of Brock Williams and his only son. Ash did not get along well with his family during his childhood, frequently arguing with his father after his mother passed away and his sister when they would play together. During his teenage years, the young Ash met Chet Kaminsky, who would later become a lifelong friend to him. During their high school career, Ash and Chet would frequently host parties at Elk Grove, with Chet being outgoing while Ash was more reclusive. At some point, Brock gave Ash a 1973 Oldsmobile Delta 88, a car he bought used from the Elk Grove Destruction Derby. Ash would then go with his girlfriend Linda, Cheryl, Scotty, and Scotty's girlfriend Shelly to a cabin in the woods where an evil would awaken, leaving him as the only survivor. During the second night, Ash's hand became infected with the evil, causing him to cut it off with a chainsaw. Later, he would strap the chainsaw to the stump of his arm and saw off a shotgun to create his boomstick. After sealing the evil away, Ash is transported to 1300 AD, where he rid the land of Deadites and became a legend, causing the Book of Evil to create a special passage about how he is the savior of humanity. After returning home, Ash was fired from his S-Mart job and was blamed for the death of his friends. One night, with only a few personal belongings, his shotgun, chainsaw, and an Airstream trailer hooked up to the Delta, Ash left Elk Grove and went into hiding, moving around the state of Michigan from trailer park to trailer park. There are several factors why this could have happened, one being that the nickname Ashy Slashy bothered him. Another could have been the Deadite encounter at S-Mart made him realize that if he stayed, evil would easily find him again, and that his own father didn't believe him when he tried explaining about the events of the cabin. After 30 years, evil returned, causing Ash to suit up, eventually meeting Pablo Simon Bolivar and Kelly Maxwell at his new job working at Value Stop. Ash's story fighting evil is still yet to be finished. Currently, he is in the future, attempting to rescue his daughter and friends from evil once more. Next up, we have Candace Barr. Candace, aka Candy Barr, is the ex-wife of Ash Williams and mother of Brandy Barr. In the past, while on the run, Ash and Candace used to go drinking and one night got married in Las Vegas. After Ash ran away and disappeared without a trace before Brandy was born, Candace ended up being a single mom who raised Brandy alone. It is assumed that after having Brandy, she cleaned up her act and tried to raise Brandy to the best of her abilities with the given condition. Candace sought after Ash after he decided to permanently live in Elk Grove after defeating evil once again. She received a distress call from Brandy unexpectedly and needed Ash to make sure she was alright. After fighting Brandy at high school, her friend was corrupted by the evil and killed Candace, leaving Brandy alone and scared with her father as the last family she had left. The evil attempted to corrupt Candace's body before her funeral, failing thanks to Ash stepping in. And finally, to wrap up Ash's official family, we have Brandy Barr. Brandy Barr is the daughter of Ash Williams and Candace Barr, and is the last living member of Ash's family that he knows of, not counting Ken Williams. After Ash left, Candace took care of Brandy as best as she could before her untimely death, leaving Ash as the legal guardian of Brandy. Over the course of her time spent with Ash, Brandy has seen him fight evil for years, and even an evil clone of himself. Before fighting Kandar the Destroyer, Ash gave Brandy the glass necklace he once gave to Linda before his night in the cabin, saying it brings good luck. Currently, Brandy is somewhere in the future, looking for Ash while venturing and fighting with Pablo Simón Bolivar and Kelly Maxwell. That now wraps up all of Ash's official family, but before we go on to the non-canon timelines, we also have his clones to deal with, so let's very quickly cover those. Next up, we have Evil Ash. Evil Ash is the evil magic clone of Ash Williams. When Ash was trapped in 1300 AD, a small evil version of himself flew into his mouth and through magic grew a second evil version of Ash. The evil Ash was then shotgunned in the face and buried, but later, after tampering with the evil book, caused him to reawaken with a mangled face and white dead eyes. Evil Ash then summoned an army of skeleton deadites dubbed the Army of Darkness and attacked Ash in the old Castle Kandar. There, Ash and Evil Ash fought in a sword duel before Ash blew away all of his skin, leaving just his skeleton. Evil Ash was then killed via gunpowder explosion while he wasn't looking. Later on, Evil Ash would eventually come back while Ash was on a spaceship through the evils tampering with Ash's metal gauntlet, causing a metal chainsaw and sword to grow out of the gauntlet and eventually form into a whole new being, that being Evil Ash. Ash would eventually suck Evil Ash out of an airlock and have him fly through space for all eternity, yet never managed to see him fly off. The current whereabouts of Evil Ash are unknown. To follow up Evil Ash is Evil Ash 2. Evil Ash 2 is the second evil clone of Ash Williams, manifested via the evil severed hand of Ash. After the cabin incident, Ash's evil amputated hand continued to look for its body, until eventually realizing it could grow its own. After growing a second Ash, it dubbed itself Evil Ash 2, then attacked Amanda Fisher and killed her. After Ash gets in a fight with this clone, Kelly and Pablo quickly figured out which Ash was real and killed Evil Ash 2. Later, Ash disposed of the body and the evil hand was permanently killed. Finally, we have Evil Ash 3, the final clone of Ash Williams grown from pure evil. Evil Ash 3 is technically the genetic child of Ash Williams and Ruby Nobi, however this was done without Ash's knowledge. As a child, Evil Ash 3 grew exponentially faster than a normal human, and due to the evil, he also got a fully fleshed chainsaw. He then, as an adult, went on a massacre in Brandy's high school, killing people in every room. Ash then put an end to his short life and killed him, ending the final Evil Ash clone. Alright guys, we're almost done. Really quickly, I'm just going to cover all the non-canon timelines, and then you'll be fully up to date on all of the Williams and all of the different timelines. Jeez, this is a long video. Coming from the Army of Darkness and Xena Warrior Princess crossover comics, we have Solan Williams, which is the son of Ash Williams and Gabrielle. Solan lived in a possible future of Earth 818793, but his future was erased from existence after Ash, Xena, Gabrielle, and Oruculus saved the world from the Deadite Xena. Not much is known about Solan's life before coming back to the past, except he was raised by his mother, Gabrielle. Before he completely faded away, he told his mother that Ash was his father. However, Ash was never told that Solan was his son. Solan is actually named after Xena's son Solan, a character in the Xena Warrior Princess television series. After fading away, Solan has yet to appear in any other crossover comics, but the window is still open according to the creators. Next up, we probably have the weirdest member of the entire Williams family, Brock Samson. One in-game conversation in Poker Night 2 indicates that Sheila became pregnant from Army of Darkness when they had a brief romance with Ash, and then had a child a few months after Ash left. And then their child, and therefore Ash himself, was an ancestor of Brock Samson. Considering that this version of Ash knows he's a fictional character, this is not the Ash that we know and love from the original series, so this also falls into another alternate timeline scenario. So by the skin of his teeth, Brock Samson is a Williams. And congratulations, viewer, you did it! We have gotten through every single member of the Williams family. I did not go in detail with all of the different alternate versions of Ash. If you want, I could do a video on alternate versions of Ash. It might be a little bit of a repeat because we do have the evil versions already on here. But whatever. I did it. I did the entire Williams family tree, including the clones and the alternate universes. And if you're wondering what the canon timeline looks like, or the canon family tree, here you go. I made this special visual just for this case. This table was the main reason why I wanted to make this video, and now it is finally finished. So, thank you all so much for watching. I love you all. If you want to go and download this table, you can do so on the Twitter post down below in the description. I hope you all enjoy my video. This took me at least a whole day. I think maybe 2 days to make. It was a long process to record it all and then find the correct images and all of that. So I hope you really enjoy. Please leave a like and comment down below if you want to see a bit more content in this type of vein. But either way, thank you so much. I'll see you all later. Bye bye.